my fellow citizens, at this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger.
This is what it looked and sounded like in Baghdad. It was this short, and this is what happened.
It sounds like maybe you don't think we should have been in Iraq.
I don't.
Why is that?
No, I mean, I think the whole narrative that, number one, Saddam had WMD.
I take the fact that he develops weapons of mass destruction very seriously.
Like, that was completely and totally found to be inaccurate. I just think we were lied to, lock, stock, and barrel. I think our government, squandered the will of the American people after 9/11. After 9/11, the American people were like, yeah, let's get it on, let's go to war, let's defend our country. We took down the Taliban and Al-Qaeda pretty quick in Afghanistan. Bin Laden escapes to Pakistan, and all of a sudden it's like, don't worry about that. We're gonna build a new government here in Afghanistan. Oh, and by the way, now we need to go to Iraq. You need a good, proper invasion and occupation to really, fill the coffers of the military-industrial complex. And you look at a country like Iraq, if you're gonna invade that, man, you can bring everybody. I mean, you can have armored divisions there and, your air package, combined arms warfare, what the military have been practicing for so long. I mean, it's just right there. It's way too tempting for them not to do it.
So anybody that was there that still isn't tracking all of the KBR, because KBR was a subsidiary company to Halliburton, big logistics company. Everything that you saw that had KBR on it, the chow halls, the construction, the fuel, every piece of logistics in that war belonged to Halliburton. Whose former CEO is Dick Cheney, who probably made the big argument on why we need to go in there.
On looking into the Halliburton contract, are you concerned that that gives some fuel to your critics that the contract was inappropriate in the first place?
I appreciate the Pentagon looking out after the taxpayers' money. They felt like there was an overcharge issue. Their investigation will lay the facts out for everybody to see.
There was a handful of courageous Republicans and Democrats out there who eventually were almost ostracized from their party, who were against the Iraq War.
I opposed the war in Iraq from the beginning. It was a flawed strategy that diverted attention and resources away from hunting down Osama bin Laden's terrorist network.
Do you want the terrorists to win? Do you hate America? Like the surrender Republicans, the traitor Democrats? Like, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I know pattern recognition. And like, not being able to see those patterns now, it's very alarming to me.
Let's talk about your wife. Who was she working for?
So she was working at the time, she was on an individual augment, so working for special operations. And then she gets put down from Balad to Baghdad to work in the inter-intel agency environment there in the Ville doing targeting.
And her name?
Shannon Kent. When you find your person, you find your person. I think that's a lot of it too. A lot of it's that what you just can't explain. You look at someone in the eye and you're like, oh, okay, this is it. And Trump gives the announcement, says we're getting out of Syria now. Like, this is what I ran on. We're going to pull our troops out of Syria. The second Trump said, I want to start pulling troops out, it was like a night and day shift. I mean, I was seeing, because I had just, in processed over at the agency, and there's the mid-level people there that are like, yeah, we're not going to do that.
President Trump and the new backlash this evening after his sudden decision to withdraw U.S. troops from a key border area of Syria.
Why are you siding with an authoritarian leader and not our Kurdish allies?
Well, I'm not siding with anybody. We've been in Syria for many years. You know, Syria was supposed to be a short-term hit, just a very short-term hit, and we were supposed to be in and out. We want to bring our troops back home.
She should have been out of Syria because Trump gave the order to get those guys out of there. And then you have the administrative state dragging their heels and desperately trying to keep us in these conflicts. It's the exact same thing we see now. We've got troops that are out there vulnerable, under fire, and Washington, D.C. refuses to withdraw them, either because they're ignorant or because they're like, well, worst case scenario, if some troops get killed, then we got to double down. We'll send in more troops.
Why did you decide to run for Congress?
The short answer is 2020. I mean, that was right after, about a year after Shannon was killed. And I was pretty disappointed to see that nobody was stepping forward. And then I, had a little bit of self-reflection in absence of orders attack. So I just said, you know what, I'm at least going to run. I'm at least going to give her a challenge so that she knows that we, the people, are not happy with her.
All the places I worked, I loved working in Yemen.
Same here.
Did you ever eat at that sushi restaurant?
I know, yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
There could only be one, I'm sure.
And the guy that the owner got killed outside of his own, stabbed to death.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You had all the other foreign intel agencies that we're not friends with that are all there, and everybody's spying on each other, and you're trying to do the regular mission, and you're also doing all this other stuff.